Entertainer Andy Kaufman's life comes alive on the big screen, and tonight a special audience gets a sneak peek at Man on the Moon. Man on the Moon is expected to be one of the biggest movies this year.
It's about quite an original personality. Among the characters in this film, a king-size role only one person, a Memphian, could fill. Action News 5's Kim Clark is live at the Ridgeway MALCO 4 Theater with the story. Kim?
Joe, you said it right. Only a king could fill this role. I'll tell you about that in just a second. But first of all, let me tell you about tonight's event, sponsored by FM 100. They put this all together here at the MALCO Ridgeway 4. You can see the sign behind me, Man on the Moon. And walk in here to the theater with me while I'm telling you about this. They're expecting about 300 people tonight. And this is only the second time this has been shown anywhere. Here in Memphis will be the second time it's been shown. New York was the first place. We're second. Now, if you've lived under a rock or perhaps you just moved to Memphis, then you're probably wondering, why is Memphis hosting a sneak peek of Man on the Moon, a movie about Andy Kaufman? Well, here is the reason. One of Memphis's greatest treasures, a crown jewel you might say, or better yet, Bluff City royalty, has a pretty good part in this movie, which is sure to be a blockbuster.
Lawler, I don't wrestle men. You don't touch me, baby. I'll sue you for everything you've got.
That statement in the early 80s and the two pile drivers that followed made Jerry the King Lawler an instant celebrity. Comedian Andy Kaufman earned 3 days in traction at St. Francis Hospital. And that showdown was followed by another on the David Letterman Show.
Here he comes, ladies and gentlemen. There's only one like him.
His uniqueness in and out of the wrestling ring is what probably led movie makers to use the real thing for the cinematic recreation of Kaufman's life. But in a classic case of art imitating life, the movie's star, Jim Carrey, tried to instigate a showdown of his own. That ended much the same as it did for Kaufman, with an ambulance run and Carrey in a neck brace. And joining me now is the king himself, the star of the movie, to me anyway, Jerry Lawler. Welcome. Are you excited about tonight?
Well, yes, I am, but I feel a little uncomfortable referred to as the star of the movie. I do have a couple of lesser-known co-stars like Courtney Love, Danny DeVito, and...
Who are they?
Some guy named Jim Carrey. I don't know.
Really. Man on the Moon stars Jerry Lawler. Now, but you two pile drives aside, what did you really think of Andy Kaufman?
I probably really should wait and let the people find out what I really thought of Andy in the movie. But the truth of it, I think people realize now, it's 15 years later, Andy and I were friends. Yeah. Of course, he was bizarre. He was a unique individual, and I think this movie will show that. But Andy, in actuality, was probably the best thing that ever happened to my career. Yeah. So I can't say anything bad about him.
I don't blame you. What about Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey, I can't say some bad stuff about. No, I'll tell you what. Jim Carrey and I had a little. We had a couple of run-ins, actually, during the filming of this movie, but I think it all stemmed from the fact that Jim Carrey was so into this part. He had to actually audition. Can you imagine probably the top Hollywood star having to audition for a part? So many of the top comedians and top actors wanted to play Andy Kaufman, and he won the role, and he is phenomenal at it. And he was, I guess they refer to it as method acting. He was so... I mean, he became Andy Kaufman for the entire 80 days of the shoot, and the problem with that was Jim felt that Andy and I despised each other. Right. So whenever he saw me, he treated me that way, and it caused a few problems on set.
But it probably worked for the movie, though, I'd say.
I think it did.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to watch and see. And by the way, the Q&A segment starts tonight at about 7 with Jerry, and then the movie itself will be shown at about 7:30. Man on the Moon, 7:30 night, Ridgeway 4, special screening. Only a few select people are allowed in, 300 of them. And Jerry, while I toss it back to them, how about if we thumb wrestle?
Oh.
And I challenge you to thumb wrestle, and if I win, do I get your crown?
Okay.
Okay. Joe and Carrie, back to you. No, you're cheating. That's a cheat.
Was that staged? I don't know.
I think so.
Well, it seems Santa Claus has many talents.
And he's using them to make sure every child gets what he or she wants. Coming up, we'll show you how old St. Nick says ho, ho, ho with his hands.
But first, a live look over Tunica County with our High 5 camera there of all the lights in the distance. Dave is in next with weather, and he's talking about warmer temperatures.